I was wondering what that was. Hey, everybody. How's it going? We are Timeout with uSTADIUM. I'm Brianna. I'm with Nick and Frankie. Frankie's got his green screen background changed for some reason. I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
That is a nice green screen, Frank.
Hey,
nice.
no green screen. We in Miami, bitch. Oh, let's go.
You following Deshaun
I am
Watson
not
around?
leaving. I'm going to be sitting here all day, all night, and all week next week. I'm not moving.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't either if I were you. We got some big news for the network. I don't know if you guys know about it, but I know about it. We got one Hunter Henry and Sean Culkin joining the uSTADIUM team, starting their own podcast. They're going to call it the Flow Bros, and it's going to premiere tentatively the beginning of March. And even better, we're going to have them on Timeout with uSTADIUM next week.
Yep.
How sick is this?
I can't wait. I think it's going to be great. Hopefully, I know Sean just signed a futures deal with the Chiefs, and he'll be getting to catch some passes from Patrick Mahomes. And Hunter is obviously a free agent, but playing with Justin Herbert in LA, I mean, it's a huge market for him. So really exciting. And obviously he's a free agent, so hopefully he'll take us on a little tour of the free agent process. So really excited for those two guys.
Yeah, and their vibe together, like when we did a couple conversations with them on Zoom, Nick and I, they're just so funny together. The show's going to be awesome, and they're open. You're not going to get a show with Hunter and Sean that's going to be closed off or just something that's just cliche, athlete show. They're going to dive in. They're going to talk about issues off the field, people that they've met along the way who's helped them. So it's going to be a really in-depth journey into the lives of Hunter Henry and Sean Culkin. In their first two shows, it's going to be Sean interviewing Hunter, talking about how he got into the NFL, and then Hunter will do the same with Sean. So it's going to be sick. It's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, excited about that.
It's very exciting. And one more piece of I don't know if we would call it news, but we're playing a little game on Timeout with uSTADIUM today. So we are doing a jersey giveaway, and the word you need to listen for, because I know I say it and I talk about it too much, and I know it bothers everybody in the comments. So if I say the word Boston, anything about Boston, whether I'm talking about, we'll include the Patriots too in this situation. If I refer to New England at all, you have to comment Boston sucks, because I know you all think it.
Flip it.
You have to comment Boston sucks, and the first person to do it gets to win this giveaway. It's a jersey of your choice. So I'm going to try my absolute hardest to limit it and make you guys sit around for the rest of the show. And, that's how you know if you're going to win. You got to pay attention. I probably won't do it for another, let's say around like 6:30, 6:40-ish. So you got to stay around.
I'm calling the under on that.
You going under? I think she's going to go over.
Under. It's going to be like 6. It's going to be 6:10 in 7 minutes.
I think she's into it. I don't know.
Also, let me just, because I see the people in the comments right now. I was just explaining the rules. That does not count. You have to wait. So, okay, are we good?
And there's a secret giveaway. When Nick or myself refers to anything food related, you have to say, "I love food," and then you will get a uSTADIUM hoodie or T-shirt like I got on right now. So
I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, I just threw it in. That's a secret giveaway.
Okay.
Yeah. So anytime we refer to anything food, wedges, hot dogs, whatever, anything, you say "I love food" in the comments, and you get a free shirt or a hoodie. You pick.
I'm going way under on that one. That's a way under.
All right, so whatever. We got the giveaways.
Well, you guys like my Miami haircut?
Oh my God, Frankie, are you in Miami? I didn't know that.
I got them grills.
Jesus.
The guy who cut my hair, by the way, was bald and had a 33 on his head, like
big Jamal Adams fan.
I was like, what the hell? I actually went to him. I'm like, I'm in Miami. I got to get a haircut with this guy. If there's anyone, give me some funky, I'm on vacation.
Jesus. All right. So lots of news today, quarterback related. More stuff about Deshaun Watson that I feel like this thing is never going to get resolved. So he met with Texans' new head coach today, and it's still something that I don't understand what the front office isn't understanding, that this guy is not going to play for them anymore. He went straight to the head coach today and said, look, I'm done. I'm not playing another snap for the Houston Texans. Front office is still in the mindset of, well, we're not going to trade you. So, I mean, what's going? Are we going to see him sit out for a year? What's happening? Because there needs to be some resolution here. I mean, Nick, you're probably our insider here. Do you have any idea? Because I don't think either of us do.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting kind of surprise that Dan Graziano reported earlier today that he met with David Culley for a brief time on Friday. What's it today? Thursday. So 4 or 5 days went by and we didn't even hear about it. Or 6 days. I don't even. What's today? Thursday. Yeah, 6 days gone by. We didn't even hear about it. So he spoke via phone call with David Culley on last Friday, and basically nothing came out of it except for the fact that he did, made common courtesy just to make the call with Culley. Which if you remember, John McClain told Frank and I on OT a few weeks ago that. The Texans organization wouldn't even think about trading him until they at least got the chance to talk to him. So if you follow what McClain said, well, he spoke with Culley, still reiterated he wanted to be traded. Nothing's going to change that. Tweeted out today, something along the lines of loyalty and whatnot, which is basically saying like, hey, you guys weren't loyal to me, and I that's big for me. There's no loyalty here in Houston. You guys weren't loyal to me. He's loyal to the city. He's still doing, great charity work for them and, the city, former players and whatnot. And it just, there has to be, it's going to come to a point where Houston says, all right, this guy's dug in. I don't want to, we can't let this go past the draft. We want to capitalize on this now. We're not going to go into the season and have this guy sitting out, not playing for us, wasting another year. This is a valuable year to trade him because he is only costing 10, 11 million on the salary cap. And other teams around the league see that as all right, well, I can get him on. I can afford to kind of move some money around so that when his cap charge does go up into the 30 millions, which is still a solid deal for a top 5-7 quarterback, they can move some money around and make that hit a little bit easier to swallow. So trading him is very valuable to the team that would acquire him this year. So that would obviously up the asking price for Houston. So it doesn't make any sense for them to sit on this and let this drag into the draft, into the offseason further, into camp, into the regular season. It does nobody good at that point. He's not going to play for them. They know that. He knows it. So they're just they're dug in. I guess they're obviously a little butthurt. They don't want to get rid of him. They think that maybe over time this will kind of, smooth over a bit. It's obviously not. So it's just going to get to a point, I think, whether it's the next few weeks, month up into the draft, whatever, where they finally just say, look, let's just trade him. We don't need this bad PR anymore. The team is already looked at as like a laughing stock. Let's get as many draft picks as we can back. Let's move on and hit the reset button.
Yeah, and the thing about this too is from the Texans side, they're obviously going to do whatever they can to keep Watson there. So they're having everyone speak to him. They're reaching out to him constantly, and we know this from our source with the Texans. So they're trying their hardest to keep Deshaun in town. Nobody wants to give up a guy like Deshaun Watson, a 25-year-old top 5 quarterback that his college coach has compared to Michael Jordan, the way he works and the way he delivers. He's had tremendous success his first 3 years in the NFL. It's just it's insane that this guy's available. And from the Texans' perspective, they're going to do whatever they can to keep him around. And I think the next thing for them is money. They're going to have to do something with his contract to pay him more, but they will do whatever they can to keep him wearing, Houston's logo, because that guy is so valuable to a franchise. Outside of what he does on the field, Nick, you posted this the other day. What does he do off the field? He's great for the community. He's great in interviews. He never does the wrong thing. I will say, though, the way he's been going about it at this point with some of his tweets, I don't like that approach. Sometimes you just have to go out there and say, I want out. We all know you want out. And make it happen. Some of this passive-aggressive stuff, I don't think is doing him any justice, honestly. Just at this point, it's a waiting game for him and his agent. They're going to let it bleed out from the Texans side, and then they're going to pull the trigger, the Texans, on a trade. And it looks like the Jets, Dolphins are maybe the favorites to land him due to some of their draft assets and capital. But you never know with what happens, and a sleeper team can come along the way and really juice up an offer. So we'll see what happens. But from the Texans side, they're going to literally hold on to this guy like he's a franchise. That's what they're doing. So
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know what Easterby has on the McNair family to put him in this position of power, and to the point where they've got their franchise quarterback saying he's literally never going to play a snap again for this team. Like, this whole thing is a mess. Like, I don't know if at least in my lifetime, if I've seen a team mishandle their future as poorly as the Texans have this offseason.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen with quarterbacks. Like, we've seen this with star defensive players. We've seen this with receivers, running backs,
right,
etc. And it's usually about the money, right? It's like about, they're not paying me what I want. They told me they would pay me. Take Jamal Adams, for example. They weren't giving him the contract when they wanted. It was, he wanted it on his terms. Jets wanted it on their terms. So, they look and they move on. But with a franchise quarterback who, by all accounts, is a great person, a great leader. Teammates are literally calling him saying, hey, yeah, go, like, get out of here, like his own teammates. And now you have the news that they're not going to franchise tag Will Fuller. They're going to let him hit the open market. Watson put an Instagram message up the other day about, pay Watson, pay Fuller. So obviously he's one of his favorite targets. This would be 2 years in a row that they're letting their top receiver go basically for nothing. So
that's crazy.
Is that a way to show you want this guy? So, like, at this point, the Texans are they have every right to say, I'm not getting rid of this guy. We just paid you. You're, our franchise player. But, they're not doing the right thing in terms of showing him actual substance to keep him, right? They went and they hired David Culley. He didn't want David Culley. He didn't even know David Culley from, Joe Blow. Obviously, he met him once at a Pro Bowl, and people thought that was like some kind of relationship. That wasn't the case. He made it, he laid it out. These are the guys I want you to interview. Didn't even bother to interview these guys until they threw Bieniemy a pity interview weeks later. Now you go, obviously, they knew the Hopkins trade really kind of started this whole process, of the front office kind of disrespecting Watson or, pissing him off.
That was the first time Watson mentioned something that he was disgruntled with the team after that Hopkins trade.
And now they just go and they're going to let Fuller walk and then not even try and re-sign him. I don't know why Fuller would re-sign there anyway, but they're not even going to attempt to tag him, which would be, I think, a $16 million tag. But, so why would you want to go back to this team? Watson's dug in, man. There's no return. He would not go out of his way, threaten his brand to kind of just do a 180 and say, all right, I'm coming back. They know he's not coming back. They're going to eventually get to the point where it makes sense for them and their franchise to trade the guy, and it's basically whoever's going to offer the best deal.
Nick, and Bree, you know what I did with Nick one time? So there was a period where Nick was a little bit disinterested in some work-related stuff. We were had a little rift, and you know what I had to do? You got to go into the Arsenal, and I gave him my seamless login. I said, Nick, here's my seamless login. Order lunch whenever you want. It's on me for as long as possible. And what happened? Our relationship got significantly better after I gave you my seamless username and password. So the Texans are going to have to do something like that. You got to go into the Arsenal and figure out a way to make your man happy. And that's something you got to do.
I think the Arsenal's empty, man. I don't think the Texans got anything.
A little too far gone at this point.
The Arsenal, my seamless points are empty. We had 1,000 seamless points. We're done. You went through $1,000 in seamless.
Yeah.
Your gyro trip. You were spending more at Greek restaurants in Westchester than I do in Astoria. How the hell is that possible?
Oh, we got a winner in the chat, by the way. Sandy.
Oh yeah, see, someone got it. Who got it?
There it is. That's nice to know somebody pays attention.
All right, Ryan, you'll take care of a Sand Eater. Get his or her name and email, and we'll get them over a
Sand Eater uSTADIUM app at Frankie, and just send me Rachel. You're too late, girl. Sand Eater, I don't know who the hell Sand Eater
fireball
is.
Shots.
At me, Frankie. Download the uSTADIUM app at Frankie. Send me a screenshot of your comment and say you're Sand Eater, and it's all yours. We'll send it to you tomorrow.
Nice job, Sand Eater.
Yeah, it's impressive.
We got one winner here. All right, moving
Brianna,
on.
what's your thoughts on Bill Belichick this offseason, by the way? What do you think he's going to do?
We're moving on. We're
no
talking
comment.
about actually Russell
On to the
Wilson
next
right now,
topic.
actually. So he, as I feel like it's been for the last couple of off seasons, he's very disgruntled. And for what? Like, okay, you have a bad offensive line. What else? You're a pretty good team. Usually make the playoffs. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Cry me a river, bro. Get over it.
Right, exactly. So the Athletic, and if you guys didn't see this whole thing this morning, it was a little confusing. The Athletic came out with a report that said Russell Wilson's camp went to the Seahawks and requested a trade. Now, Adam Schefter, not too long after, tweeted out that didn't happen, but they told the Seahawks that if they were to trade him, he would only go to Chicago, Vegas, New Orleans, and there was one more. Dallas. But then Schefter came back again and said that he reworded his tweet and said that they didn't even say that. Those are just speculated landing spots. So this whole thing is really confusing. With that being said, do you think the Seahawks are going to trade him at all, or going to entertain the thought of trading him at all?
I'll jump in. I think at this point, I think the relationship is getting pretty broken. And this could be the offseason that we point to and say this was a straw that broke the camel's back and led to the Seahawks trading Russell Wilson. I know that sounds crazy. It's not something you could ever imagine that an elite quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in the NFL when outside of Mahomes, but in the NFC, best quarterback in the NFC gets traded. This would be the time that happened, that will happen. So I think it's worse than what they're reporting on. I think it's really bad because this has been going on now for a few off seasons, and now you're starting to hear murmurs from the agent. When the agent starts putting stuff out there, they're doing it strategically. Agents don't talk unless their client, their player, tells them to talk. So the fact that now the agent's talking, it's trying to garner some public support, some public opinion support for people not. It's a PR move also for fans not to look at Russ and say, oh, I hate this guy like the Jet fans did with Jamal Adams. He's doing it. Russ will do it the right way. And we're probably seeing that happen right now. So it's an interesting situation. I would not be – I mean, obviously I'd be surprised if it happened, but considering how this is going, the stars are aligning for it to happen. You're seeing all the steps to a player being disgruntled, to saying things, to hearing things. Now the agent saying things, and the player ends up getting traded. And we've seen it happen a million times when a guy does get traded, or someone in the NFL gets traded. So, right, Nick, would you agree with that? I mean, yeah, I know
it's a good point. I I think, Wilson's done this for the past few years, and like we don't really know exactly what it is. I mean, the Athletic report was basically that Russ's philosophy and Pete Carroll's philosophy kind of don't mesh, and there's been some like storming out of meetings, and Russ wants to open up the offense and throw it more, and Pete Carroll wants to run it, and they went and they hired Shane Waldron from the Rams. Like, is that not a move to kind of appease Russell Wilson and open it up and throw it more like McVay and the Rams do? I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, it seems like Russell Wilson and his like brand that you see in the media, I feel like it's not the same guy that the Seahawks see behind the scenes. And you get some like kind of like off-putting tweets from former players who aren't the biggest fans of Russ. He kind of like, his vibe to me is almost just like, he's not a real kind of like, his attitude and his brand are a little bit different than the real Russell Wilson. I think he's a little kind of like different behind the scenes. I don't want to like go out and call him like a phony, but like it's almost like
you do. Say it, Nick. Come on.
He knows what he's doing with his brand. He comes off as this like goody two shoes guy, but behind the scenes, it's like he seems like almost a little whiny, like a crybaby all the time. And you see this every offseason, and maybe it is just he's unhappy there and he wants to go somewhere else. They don't think the offensive line is better, even though they went out and they traded for an offensive lineman. They have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I mean, what else, do you want? You have a good, solid staple of running backs. Like, it's not like their talent, like they're not like disruptive talent like the Texans are. Like Watson doesn't have anybody. He has like a few little average receivers and a running back here and there, but like you have maybe one of the best receiver duos in football. What could you possibly be mad about? You're throwing the ball around, playing like this backyard offense all year round. And it's always somebody else's fault in Seattle. That's another thing with Wilson. Like he has these late season or late game meltdowns, and then the blame is always on somebody, whether it's the offensive coordinator, the running game, the receivers weren't any good, the offensive line. Now it's Pete Carroll's offense. Like, what's up with Russell Wilson? I think that needs to be the question. It's a totally different situation than Deshaun Watson. Like, how do you have a guy like Watson who says, or at least his agent says he wants out, but doesn't list any teams he wants to go to? And then you have his agent leaking news to Adam Schefter today in The Athletic saying, oh, we don't technically want to trade. We want to stay with Seattle, but here are some teams I would go to, but I don't want to trade. Like, what is that? Like, it seems to me like it's like the Russell Wilson like demeanor in one, like this whole situation. It doesn't kind of sit right with me. If he wants out because there's a disconnect between the ownership and the front and the coaching staff, that's one thing. Fine, say it. But like to kind of say, oh, I don't want to trade, but these are 4 teams I'd go to. It doesn't rub me the right way. I don't know. It's weird.
The thing with Russ, and he's one of my favorite players in the league. But the thing about him that kind of, I guess, rubs me the wrong way is he is like Pete Carroll personified. Yeah. In his media availabilities, like to the point where like his mannerisms are the same. And I'm not the biggest Pete Carroll fan in the world, so like I already don't like that. But when you listen, and they've played this clip a million times since it's been said, but when you listen to the clip of him, and I believe it was the Dan Patrick show, and Dan I just straight up asked him if he was available, and he was like, well, that's a Seahawks question. That's not a me question. If I don't know, maybe this is just me, but if I were somebody who wasn't actively looking or even thinking of being traded, I would just straight up say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I want to stay in Seattle. No. Like, no, this is my team. I'm not going anywhere. And we heard the same thing last offseason, and then it had to get like quietly shut down. Remember the big rumors with the Giants, like Russ getting traded to the Giants? It's like if he wants out, then just go. Like get out, get traded. Like, what's the big deal?
I think what's going on there though is they're not winning as much as they think they should be winning, and that always happens. So Russ probably thinks he should have a few Super Bowls, and he actually should. He should have beat your team, Bree, that one game. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, but
no, everybody knows what happens. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like I just think when you're not winning, when you haven't gotten back to the Super Bowl since that terrible loss, they lost in the year after they lost that Super Bowl, they lost in the divisional. The next year, 2016, they lost in the divisional. They didn't make the playoffs the following year. They lost in the wild card, lost in the divisional, and lost in the wild card. I mean, they're not even making championship games. So Russ probably knows, hey, I got 3 to 5 years left to get me those Super Bowls that I want and maybe I deserved. So he is not going to stick around and just let Pete Carroll and Schottenheimer, even though he's not there anymore, but last year just like running plays that he doesn't like and doesn't see the team progressing. They bring in a guy like Jamal Adams and they give up these draft assets and first round picks. And he's like, what the hell are these people doing? So I don't necessarily blame him for saying, I want to win. And Aaron Rodgers across him, with Green Bay is probably saying the same thing. These guys, they should be winning. You have Tom Brady who comes in 1 year with Tampa, 43 years old, and he comes in, runs through the NFC and wins a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson and Rodgers are probably like, what the hell is going on here? We've been in this division, in this conference for 10 plus years, and we have great rosters. Why can't we win? What are these coaches doing? What's going on? We're playing great. Russ played amazing this past year. Maybe the second half he didn't play nearly as good as the first, but he played amazing the whole year. Rodgers won the MVP, and you have guys like Brady coming in because what did Tampa do? Tampa said, Tom, you're our guy. We're going to let you coach on the field. We're going to let you coach off the field. We're going to give you Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, AB. We're going to give you 2 running backs, not 1. Not Ronald Jones. We're also going to get you Leonard Fournette. We're going to give you one of the best defenses in football. We're going to bring in guys. We're going to draft guys for you, and you're going to win a Super Bowl. And that's what happened. Maybe Wilson's like, this team's not doing what they should for me, and that's why he wants out. And honestly, I don't blame the guy. I think you're being a little bit hard, Nick, and you, Bree, too. You guys are being a little bit hard on Russell Wilson. I just think he's an amazing player. He never gets into issues. He always makes the right play. He's just – what else do you want from the guy? I think he's being treated a little bit unfair across the board from what the team's doing and what now the media's doing to him. He deserves more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, Seattle, like, he is a great player, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
Top 5 quarterback in football. But he didn't play well down the stretch of this year. He was a first half MVP runaway. People were saying, this is finally the year he gets it, and a shoe-in for the MVP. And
I'll come right out and say it. I said it.
For sure. He was the favorite up until like week 10. And then he had I think a 4-week stretch where he turned the ball over 8 times, and they lost some shitty games like to the Dolphins here and there. So,
I ruined my fantasy football team.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's great, and like maybe he's just been there for too long, and the Carroll, the Carroll facade too, like he's just like happy-go-lucky guy that can wear on you too, because he's an old school Pete Carroll too. Even though he's a young 70 years old, he's the oldest coach in football, or I don't know if he's 1 or 2. His like act can could wear on you too. I mean, you've seen former guys talk about it, but let's be honest. So Russ hasn't, and the Seahawks haven't really won anything since that, Legion of Boom or Legion of, whatever, secondary was gone. So that when it's gone to be, when it's come to like put on his back, the fantasy stats are great, and the offensive numbers look good, and they're winning a division here and there every other year, and they're in the playoffs. When push comes to shove in the playoffs, they're not winning. So. Yeah, some of the blame can go on ownership, but the Seahawks are always there to make a big move for somebody. Like they want to go and get Jamal Adams to help the defense. They did it. They want to go and get Dwayne Brown to help the offensive line. They did it. They're not sitting there and just like, you could even say the Packers, they sit on their hands with Aaron Rodgers. That's not the case with Russell Wilson. So I don't think the Seahawks deserve, the majority of the blame here. It may be just the fact that these two guys have been together for so long. And one guy wants to move on, and maybe that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, my thinking with Russ is kind of, it's not the same, but it's in the same ballpark with my thinking about Aaron Rodgers. Like, you are one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Your team is consistently good every year. Why can't you get it done? Mm-hmm. But that's a conversation for a different day, because you can go, we can make this an Aaron Rodgers conversation. We can completely just dive into why these two teams are so unsuccessful, but so successful at the same time. Like, there's regular season numbers are great. And when it comes to the postseason, they just kind of fall flat. Mm-hmm. But this whole offseason is going to be insane. And that's our transition into the franchise tag. So Tuesday opened up the franchise tag period, and there's a decent number of players this year that can be tagged for the first time, can be tagged for the second time. We got Dak Prescott. Nobody really knows what's going to go on with him. I feel like Jerry Jones doesn't even know what the hell's going to go on with him. So before we get into the players who are eligible, do you guys like the franchise tag as a concept? Do you just kind of wish that they would just go into free agency regularly? How do you guys feel about it? Because sometimes I'm okay, and sometimes I'm just like, that's kind of dumb.
I'm totally against it.
Yeah,
I think it's biggest BS in all of sports. You have these players that are putting their lives on the line. Football is probably the most brutal sport outside of combat sports, in the world. If you look at the NFL, how violent it is, how aggressive it is. These guys are putting limbs, broken bones, ACL tears, Achilles, concussions. And you're going to tell a guy like Dak, who is probably worth $60 to $75 million in value a year in terms of jersey sales, in terms of TV deals, in terms of winning games, in terms of sponsorships. He's probably worth around $70 million a year to Dallas. And you're going to say, oh, we don't know if this guy's worth 35 a year or 37 and a half. We're going to franchise tag him and pay him this, average of the top 5 salaries, which sounds good, I guess, because you're like, oh, I'm making top 5 money, but it takes one wrong cut, which you saw with Dak, one hit that goes against what physics says, and you're done, and it's over. And the owners win in the NFL, the players don't win, and the fact, and this isn't just and it's more than even owners. The NFLPA guys like DeMaurice Smith that have been around forever, why don't you do something and change the rules in the franchise tag? You have the players' support. Players don't need to play football. They do it because it's something that pays them. They're like actors. They play football. They get paid by the ownership. If they all get together and they don't want to play, they're not going to play. Get rid of the franchise tag. Put the players in a position where they have some security. How many of these guys leave the NFL, Nick and Bree, leave the NFL, and then they're out to lunch. In 5 years, their money's gone. You make $20 million after taxes. That's 13, 14. You buy a few things, you're at 10. You're 8 to 10. $8 to $10 million for 40 years after you play. It's not as much money as people think. Take $10 million and put it across 40 years and split it. How much is that per year? It's a great salary, but a lot of these guys aren't even financially fit to know what to do with that money. Then they get scumbags who spend the money for them, that spend their money, that get them into investments that they don't want to get into, and these guys are screwed. While the franchise tag just allows these owners to do it not once, not twice, 3 times. You don't get lucky like Kirk Cousins does and be able to do it and then get your 3-year deal and things all work out in your favor. If I was Dak, and sorry to go off on this, but this is like really –
No, it's good. I agree with you. Yeah,
I'm just saying if I was Dak, I would literally say franchise these nuts. I am not taking the franchise tag. And if you guys franchise tag me, I will not move from my chair. I'll sit in my chair all day. Like I'm going to sit here all day. Like I would literally not move until I get a deal. I want $37.5 million per year.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said, dude. I completely am on board with. I hate the franchise tag. Not only let's talk about being selfish as a fan too. It takes so much juice out of free agency, right? I mean, this year you're going to have Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, maybe Hunter Henry, our guy, Leonard Williams, Shaq Griffin, Shaq Barrett, Brandon Sheriff possibly, even though they say that they don't expect it. Like, it takes the top talent off the board, and these guys have to wait another year to hit the open market and cash in. If they're never going to get rid of it because the owners love it, even though it's complete garbage, but there needs to be some kind of limit to it. Like, first-rounders should not be able to be tagged, let's say, because they already have the 5th-year option. So now you're saying you're going to have to wait 6 years to get to the open market. Bullshit. Now you want to talk about, the second rounders, 3rd, 4th, all the way undrafted. Let's say, fine, we won't get rid of it. You can't tag more than once. That should be like the starting level for the.
Yeah, that should be baseline.
There's no way you should be able to franchise tag 2-3 years, because let's say you got a 24-year-old, let's say 23-year-old coming into the NFL. If you make it, even though the shelf life of an NFL player is like 3 years on average, let's say you do make it to the point where you're talking about your second contract with everybody, that's your goal, right? Coming into the NFL is to get that second contract. Agents live for that. The players live for that. You get to the point, you come into the league at 23, 4 years down the line, 27, they can tag you 28, 29. You're hitting free agency at 29, 30 years old, and you're considered old in the NFL. Like you're talking about, like Leonard Williams finally possibly getting tagged again, would go, and he was young when he came into the NFL. He was 21 when he was drafted by the Jets, but he would hit free agency at 27, 28 years old. Like his prime technically was in the NFL is 24 to 28.
Why do these players sign the franchise tag?
Because it's guaranteed money.
No idea.
I mean, you're going to sit for
contract. It's guaranteed
$16 million for the receivers, right? This year, like. I mean, you're telling the guy, hey, you're going to sit out a year and not make $16 million. And then look what happened with Le'Veon.
But I think if the players come together and just make it known that they're not going to sign the franchise tag, I'm telling you, if I was a player, I would not sign the franchise tag. It'd come to me or my agent, my desk, whatever. I'd be like, sorry, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I do not want to. I'll take half of what the franchise tag is in my first 2 or 3 years. Set yourself up with a contract.
There's an issue with the playing too. Like you're not the same player if you sit out a year. You can't like replicate or simulate, I should say, like playing reps. Like look at Le'Veon, he sat out and he's done. Like you can't, it's hard to tell a guy, a 25-year-old, hey, pass up $15 million guaranteed, injury guarantee and everything, sit out a year. Even if you do train, let's say they train like they would, like they were playing. You can't simulate game action. So then you've sat out a whole season, another off season, and then you try and go get, the owners know that. They know that these guys aren't going to do that, so they hold it over their heads. It's up to the NFLPA and the agents and the players, but they need to get back. I know the CBA, they're not going to talk for a while, but they need to have a sit down and say, we need to rework this franchise tag because the players hate it.
I have a solution. I want to see what you guys think. Keep the franchise tag for 1 year under one stipulation. Any team can franchise tag you. Anyone. So you as a player, I get the franchise tag. I can pick which team I want to go to. So I get 20 tags. I pick I want to go play for the Patriots. I am going to go and get my top 5 salary and play with the Patriots. I think that would be in the players. At least give the player a choice of who he wants to play with and where. I think that's a good idea. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that a little crazy?
Yeah, the teams definitely wouldn't do that. It's basically free agency because you're not going back.
No, I'm just saying like a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Then there's like the non-exclusive tag. Well, they do. They have like the non-exclusive tag where you can technically, let's say the Jets franchise tag Marcus May, and they put the non-exclusive means he can go out and sign a deal with a team, but the Jets have the Jets have the option to match it or get a draft pick back or whatever it may be. So like, I just think it needs the fact that it can go for 2 or 3 years is ridiculous. Like if Brandon Sheriff can get tagged, I know he would make I think $18 million this year with Washington, and Dak's money would go up 20%, and I believe if Matt Judon gets tagged again in Baltimore, he would go up too. But like, there's no way you should be able to tag somebody 2 or 3 years. It's like complete. The players are completely.
I would tag someone as much as possible. Why not?
That's what they do.
For 1 year, pay them a little bit more. If they get hurt, you don't have to be on the hook the next year if they lose a step or two. But
Justin Simmons with the Broncos is probably going to get tagged again, the safety.
That's insanity.
I think the most interesting thing about this, maybe I don't know if you guys have seen this in the last couple of days, though. I feel like there's been more players that are openly speaking out against DeMaurice Smith. Mm-hmm. Saying that he doesn't actually care about the players. Like his position's phony. Like
he's a politician.
I mean, like I've seen that before, but I feel like this year, probably because of all the COVID stuff, it's more prevalent, especially on social media.
Yeah. I saw Marlon Humphrey tweeted something. I think the other day, Ravens Corner. Yeah. I mean, I definitely. They don't love DeMaurice.
It's run like the government in a sense, too. You have Roger Goodell, who's in charge, and then you have DeMaurice Smith, who's supposed to be supporting the players. But when him and Goodell get in a room together, they do what's best for the owners, baby.
It's all about lining their pockets, man. They know.
Right.
Yeah,
they get paid, too, with these deals.
Yeah, something needs to be said. I'm glad we actually talked about this on the show because, I mean, when we start talking with players, Nick, about doing shows and we have relationships with a few guys, I mean, I want to let them know and change something. This is not good for them, and it's not good for their families more than anything. Their families get screwed, it's a bad situation, but it probably won't change anytime soon unless players come together, which is what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then I feel like
dark here? I gotta go out soon, y'all.
Kind of nice. It's a twilight in Miami. It's nice.
It's so nice out here.
Like the only way that's gonna happen though is if the players come together and then there's another lockout.
Yeah,
that's the only way. That's the only way, and that's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean,
the losers in this always aren't the Russell Wilsons, Deshaun Watsons, Christian McCaffreys. It's the 51st and 52nd, 53rd man on the roster. You're like those guys who are making not peanuts. Peanuts to us is shit. I'll take $750,000 a year, but it's those guys who are not getting the game check because those guys aren't getting paid if there's a lockout. So, and those guys might not get a chance to come back and make the team. So until then, you're talking about like 80% of the league is making under like $3 million a year. So those are the guys that. When these, and Richard Sherman talks about it, like if you want to talk about someone who's like educated on this, I definitely recommend like a Richard Sherman podcast. I can find one and post it. Like he goes into detail about like who's really getting screwed over in these situations. And it's not guys like him or Russell Wilson for sure. It's guys like, your backup, third string linebacker or sixth corner on the roster.
Right. Yeah. No, it's going to be something to really pay attention to. Teams have up until March 9th to tag somebody. So if the Patriots wanted to tag Joe Thuney again, that's when they have to do it. If not, he's a free agent, and I think that's how it's going to go. So
I think so too.
I think that's how it's going to go. And then the league year is March 17th, so it's right around the corner.
Yeah. And all right, I saw Or we got to give it to Rachel. We can't have.
Yeah.
We can't have. Sorry. Wait, no, hold on. We had. Oh, wait a second. It was
No,
Jason Tamris. Jason Tamris had it first.
Wait, I missed it. Damn.
You missed
Yeah, you missed it.
I want to comment. Jeez.
Yeah, Jason Tamris won. Ryan, let's give it here.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I
but
see the
he's
YouTube
been
one.
dropping it in
Sand
the
Eater.
comments like every 10 minutes. So
Wait,
I feel
Sand
like
Eater or Jason Tamris? I have both. I have Zach Miller too. I have Zach Miller, Kevin Vargas. I have a bunch of
but
people.
I got the
639.
timestamp. I got the timestamp with Tamris here. I think. Sorry,
so
if I'm
I'm
botching that.
thinking
Tamris?
maybe Zach, because every time even you guys mention it, Jason jumps in, and I feel like that's disqualification. You didn't pay attention to the rules, you don't get it.
You know what? We're gonna have to have this discussion off air.
Yeah,
We're
this is
gonna
gonna
put it to a
this is a
vote.
recount situation.
So it's either Sand Eater, Jason Tamris, Zach Miller, or Kevin Vargas. Those are the four. These are the four
Yeah.
here. So we'll have
All
this
right.
discussion and reach out. So if you four at least send your emails to Frank at uSTADIUM, and we'll get in contact with you guys.
Wow. You guys,
They caught on, Bree. That was
I
pretty
think
good.
people just wanted an excuse to say Boston sucks, but like, you know.
I like how
Actually,
they
it was-
Boston sucks.
Sorry, it was Jason. Actually, we don't even need a recount. Breaking news. Dun, dun,
Put it on
dun.
the ticker.
Yeah, put on the ticker. Breaking news. We have a winner. Ryan, I'm going to put it on the ticker. We have a winner. Jason Tamris.
All
There
right,
it
man.
is. All
All right.
right.
I think
Ping
you
us,
cheated.
email us. You have the email or at Frankie or at Nick Spano on the app, and we got you, dude. Good,
Congrats.
good
All right.
job.
There's a
I just
jersey.
said good job in Boston. Good job. How you
Yeah.
say?
Good job.
You can get a Barry
Say good
Sanders.
job.
There we
Wicked
go.
good job, kid. There you go. All right. It's our weekly Trevor Lawrence question here. I said pre-show that I just didn't want to talk about this anymore because I feel like we're beating a dead horse here talking
Bree,
about
you see the
Trevor
first
Lawrence.
question?
Yeah, will you marry me? Yeah, no, sorry.
I said I can't. I'm married.
Weed and boys. Oh my
Sorry,
God.
Weed and
He
Boys.
comments about you. You get comments every week about this stuff. Unbelievable.
I think he's talking
Sorry.
to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Weed and Boys.
You're
Might
looking
be.
cute, you're looking cute
He's a
tonight, Nick,
rat. He
dog.
doesn't listen to the show.
Nick's looking cute tonight, I must say.
It's got to be the
Yeah, I
blue.
like it with a jersey on. Yeah.
It's
No,
the
Weed
shit,
and
it
Boys. I'm
brings out his
calling him
eyes.
out. I'm calling him out. He's a snake, Weed and Boys. He talks so much shit on the app about. He doesn't even listen to the show or comment.
Oh my god.
It's
No, I'm
unbelievable.
calling him out. He's a snake. He knows it.
Yeah, call him out. Listen,
Throw
he deserves it. He
Tesla
deserves
around.
it. All right, so Trevor Lawrence.
Michael
is
Powell
he-
giving us love. Frank, your boy. Sorry, Bree.
Oh, he's on there? That's my
Yeah,
guy.
I saw his comment right there.
Is he the best quarterback prospect ever of all time? that
Michael
we've ever
Powell?
seen? No, Trevor
Oh,
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Best radio host of all time, Michael Palace.
That's true.
That's
I'm coming
facts.
out. I'm just gonna come out and say no before you guys get going. I'm
Oh.
just gonna say no.
Lawrence?
Mike, you hear
Lawrence.
this?
No, he's talking about Lawrence. She's
Oh.
I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence.
No, he's not. I still think for our generation who didn't really study the John Elway, they weren't even alive. They didn't study Peyton Manning because this was 1995 or 98, whatever it was. They weren't even. Most of them weren't alive. They saw Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence is.
I disagree.
I said it the past few months, and when I was like had this hard on for Trevor Lawrence, I still do. I'm still upset about it. But I love Lawrence. I think he's great. My problem with him is his footwork in the pocket tends to be a little bit off, whereas Luck was like, I mean, look, Lawrence is clean. This is like nitpicking because I think Lawrence is great. Like
Yeah.
if we had to absolutely nitpick, something about him, his footwork tends to get a little bit sloppy in traffic, and then you see a lot of like the inaccuracy with Luck. Man, he's solid. Like Lawrence is a little bit skinnier on the frailer side. I think he'll fill out though once he gets into the league. He's still young, but with Luck, like big shoulders, big legs, like he was just so solid in there. He was like athletic. Lawrence is too, but it's that sneaky athleticism that they both have. To me, Luck was just a little bit cleaner, more accurate down the field too than Lawrence was. But I think Lawrence is in that conversation with one of the best prospects ever.
I think Lawrence is. I don't think he's sneaky athletic. I think he's very athletic. So he is fast, Nick. Trevor Lawrence can run, man. He's got that Daniel Jones top speed. I think his arm, his whip, his release is quicker than Andrew Luck's. Andrew Luck's had to set up a little bit, and the ball took a bit to come out. I think Trevor Lawrence, from soup to nuts, let's just call it, as a quarterback prospect, I think he's the best ever. I just think he has no weakness. He legitimately has no weakness in his game. We'll see how he handles the NFL pressure. That is the question that's on everyone's mind. How is he going to deliver against NFL, caliber players and defenses? But overall, just looking at his body of work, Trevor Lawrence up there. By the way, Zach Wilson's body of work is amazing. Justin Fields' body of work is amazing. Who's that other kid, Nick? Trey Lance, his body of work. I mean, this is a really good quarterback class.
Mac Jones too, man.
Yeah, Mac Jones too.
People are sleeping on Mac Jones. I'm serious. And
this is a really good quarterback class. So a team that needs a quarterback, like 15 of them do, this is a good year to grab someone maybe at the end of the first and really be excited about him. If you look at it compared to other classes, I think this is one of the best quarterback classes I've seen in a while.
It definitely is.
And it's not getting talked about much. I don't really, when Baker was coming out and Darnold and that whole draft, you saw a lot of churn, a lot of murmurs about that. Look at freaking Ryan doing flexing. Right. You're getting a little jacked there, kid, I must say. So you're looking good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're right. But, there was they said that was the replicating the '83 draft with Kelly Marino. They were talking about with 2018 with Baker, Darnold, Rosen, and even like Lamar. But yeah, I mean, and I was told and this isn't my opinion because I have Fields above Mac Jones, but I was told don't be surprised if Mac Jones is picked before Justin Fields.
Wow. I could see Fields dropping, although I think that's a huge mistake. I could see it.
Yeah,
he's got the game of a quarterback that would drop.
Like the media, I mean the scouts and the teams like Mac Jones a lot more than the fans and the media does.
I think the reason I agree with you about the strength of the quarterbacks in this class. I just feel like the reason why it's really not as big of a talking point as it should be. Is just because everybody's so enamored with Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Like they love him so much, and they're like hyping him up like this is the first time we've ever seen a good quarterback ever.
Yeah, it's definitely and the reason why, Bree, is because they were talking about Trevor Lawrence. Like you usually don't get that hype until like year 2 or even year 3, or sometimes guys stay until the senior year. Like people were saying, Trevor Lawrence is a guy who could have started in the NFL as a true freshman at 18 years old. So they were like, this is almost like a Bryce Harper situation in baseball where you were talking about this kid in high school who could have played in the MLB, like didn't need a second of minor league baseball and should have just went, it's almost like a LeBron in the NBA, right? It's like Lawrence could have played in the NFL without a single snap in college. So that's why I think people are, looking at this draft. And before this year, though, before like the COVID season, like people were saying Lawrence and Fields, 1A and 1B. Obviously, people always had Lawrence above Fields, but then you had, which always happens every year, is a guy like Zach Wilson shoots up out of nowhere, like the Joe Burrow effect that he had last year. Yeah. So then you always have like, wow, this quarterback draft is 3 deep, 4 deep now. Mac Jones comes out of nowhere. So it is a really good draft, and you have Kyle Trask, who is another guy people with different opinions on. He's probably a day 2 guy, but don't be surprised if he gets drafted at the bottom of the first round. A team trades up to get that extra year of control.
You know what Mac Jones' nickname is? I just came up with it.
What?
Best nickname ever. Crack Jones.
Oh my God.
You want to trademark that one?
Yeah,
Why?
Crack Jones.
Why?
Dude, it's like crack. It's Crack Jones. That's
it's like crack.
Great name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like crack.
He had a better season than Lawrence.
Crack. Huh?
He had a better season than Lawrence.
Yeah. I saw a stat. I think he had more 400-plus yard passing games last year, I think it was, than any quarterback in the nation. He can sling it, that kid. I really like him. Crack Jones.
What do you think about the knock on Lawrence being that back-to-back years he was outplayed in a huge game by Joe Burrow and now this year Justin Fields?
Listen, I don't know sometimes how to gauge a quarterback in these games. I think it says something if they play really well. I don't know if it says something if they don't play well.
It's not the end all be all, right?
Sometimes it's a game plan thing, especially in college. It's so dependent on how the coaching staff prepares the players to go out there and deliver. So it's not always the quarterback's fault in these big
because Lawrence played fine against Fields.
Yeah, he played decent enough. But I think what Fields did, 7 touchdowns, 400+ yards, that is impressive as hell. So
Zach asked any chance Mike Jones? No. Wilson, I mean, from the 3 or 4 people that I talked to around the league, they're all basically on board with Wilson quarterback 2 at this point. So it'd be a surprise if that happens.
Oh, man.
Is that Manisha's brother? If Cully can't change Watson's mind on staying, what are the chances Houston fires him and names? No, not yet. I mean, if you believe the reports,
there's no way.
Said, McCown is technically not on the coaching staff. He's still a player under contract, and he'll probably be a backup or a third string guy. That will probably just be moved on into the on payroll into a coach next season. So maybe like when they'll give Cully 2 to 3 years and then kind of hand it off to McCown, but I don't think they can't fire him right now. He hasn't even met the players yet.
Right. Like there's absolutely no shot that, and they've done some crazy stuff so far, but there's no shot that they're going to hire this guy, fire him 2 seconds later, all because they're going to try to keep Deshaun Watson, who is already 99.9% out the door.
Yeah.
Like there's no salvaging this relationship.
It's not
at all.
But I would tell you right now, if the Texans have to pick between Cully or Watson, they're picking Watson. So they don't give two craps about Cully.
Frank, take that one.
I mean, I was hoping it was going to be Joe Flacco, but that's not going to happen.
That's ship sailed, I think.
You know what? Deshaun Watson.
I like it.
I still think we're going to get him. I thought I had a vibe about 3 weeks ago. It didn't happen. I had a vibe last week. It didn't happen. But the vibe's there. The energy's there. It's gonna happen.
You're just off on your dates.
Yeah, I'm off. I said February 15th. Donald was going to get traded.
What about you? What do you think? 2021 Jets quarterback.
For the Jets, I don't think it's going to be Deshaun Watson. Sorry.
What do you think?
I think you guys are going to trade that pick. Right?
Oh boy.
Where do you pick at?
2.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to trade that pick. And I wouldn't be surprised. No, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a package or some shit like that, or 3-team trade for Russ. I don't think Watson's in the cards whatsoever.
That would be interesting.
I didn't think you could get me any happier with that one.
I know.
I think it's going to be Fields. I mean, sorry. Wow. I think it's going to be Wilson. Zach Wilson.
We said every quarterback under the sun. I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson.
It's going to be none of them.
Thanks.
It's going to be none of them. It's going to be like, watch it be Cam Newton, and you guys have to suffer again.
I'll quit the show.
Totally. Yeah.
Listen.
I'll do a back dive right now.
I mean, rumors around here is that he's coming back. So.
Oh my God, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Cam Newton does not fit the New England culture. He just doesn't. You can try your best. Chad Johnson didn't fit that culture. It just doesn't freaking work, unfortunately.
No. Splash thinks the cornerback, undrafted free agent corner that the Jets have, Lamar Jackson, is going to be the starting quarterback. I like that one, Splash.
Yeah, probably.
Can't be worse than Darnold the past 2 years.
Why? It's guys. I mean, if we want to have like realistic odds here, it's probably Wilson, but right behind Wilson being the starter is going to be Sam Darnold. I mean, they're already saying now that they're doing their pre-draft analysis of quarterbacks. I
reported that weeks ago, and they took that report from me. What are you going to do?
Yeah. What do you think of the Pats?
Oh, my girl Rachel, she's wearing a Pats jersey. Okay, we like that.
Mariota.
Who do I think the Pats will have at QB1?
I guarantee it's Mariota.
I'm
telling you, I guarantee it's Mariota.
That's
Mariota.
what I'm feeling too.
Started for a team in 3 years?
Call it 100.
Yeah. That's what I'm feeling too. I think he's going to get released. I think he's going to get released, and I think it's either going to be Mariota or it's going to be Cam again, and I don't know. I don't know.
We just discussed who it's going to be. Crack Jones.
Listen.
That's a good fit. They'd have to trade up for him, though.
Yeah.
And it can't be Stidham, because I'm so sick of all of these.
Terrible.
He's god awful, and for some reason, like, there's a strange group of Pat's Twitter that just absolutely loves him no matter what. And I just
they probably thought when they traded Garoppolo that he was going to be the new Garoppolo, and they fell for him, and he was terrible in college, and he's terrible now.
So bad. I need it to stop.
What team is likely to trade up to draft a quarterback? Good question. It depends on who. The Watson thing is a big situation here. If the Panthers miss out on Watson,
I was going to say the Panthers.
Yeah, it's going to be them because they're aggressive.
Quarterback. Yeah.
So I think the Dolphins definitely trade out of 3. I don't think the Jets end up trading out of 2 unless, obviously, with Watson. I think they would stay and take either Fields or Wilson. So I think that number 3 is the trade spot. And I mean, don't be surprised if the Eagles move up. I mean, the rumors that they love Hurts. I mean, they don't love Hurts, but they could move up and get Fields or somebody. So
and their front office is aggressive with the quarterback position.
Yep.
So if they feel like they're not getting value, they're going to trade up or they're going to make a move to get a quarterback. They did it with Hurts.
Yeah.
They replaced Wentz real quick.
I would say like teams like San Fran or Washington and New England, but they're just too far back to make that jump unless you're giving up a boatload of picks. So, Carolina only has to come up from 7 to 3.
Nick, where do you think Mac Jones goes?
Mac Jones, you said?
Yeah, what, like 20
Panthers.
or 25?
No, I think he's going to go in the top 10.
Top 10?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
He jumped big then. He was a late first-round pick.
Yep.
I guess I haven't been keeping too up with that.
I think he's pretty much a
in the
lock for
top
top
10.
10. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like top 7.
Really?
I think right now, when I do another mock, I'll have him go to the Panthers at 7.
I was thinking mid-late 1.
No, he's up. They love him. He had a great Senior Bowl week, too.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should everyone should trade for Watson, honestly.
I agree.
It's like,
Yeah.
I said his name wrong. What's his name? Solomon? I called him
I thought you said calamari. I thought you were getting hungry. Giving away another hoodie or something?
No, we already did that.
Oh, I had calamari the last 2 days, by the way.
Did
last
you?
night, fried calamari for lunch. I could eat fried calamari every day. It's the best thing. It's so good. With lemon, and you got you got your little chipotle mayo, or you got your marinara sauce, depending upon.
You ever had Thai calamari?
I don't like it. I don't like anything Thai, ginger, sesame, soy mix. Nah. Keep that. Salmon does not deserve that stuff. All right, salmon's too good for that calamari. Fish does not deserve, in a good way. Fish is too good.
I had really good Thai calamari.
Ginger, sesame.
It's good.
Oh my God.
Keep that in the shrimp fried rice. All right, don't bring it to the salmon, please.
I would put it on salmon. I agree.
All right.
Shrimp fried rice is amazing, by the way.
There's this one question in here. This poor guy has just been asking 1,000,001 questions. He's been asking hockey questions, and then we obviously, because Nick is just
answer. Go ahead.
Nick is just, I don't know. So we're not a hockey show, but his question is: are the Pats more likely to trade out of the first round or up? And
it's a football question.
If you've been paying attention the last however 20-something years, they're more likely to flip that first round pick, especially where it's at right now. Mid, they're at, I think, 15. Bill's going to flip that if he wants to for a 3rd and 2/5.
Yep. There's got to be a Rutgers safety out there that they're just dying for.
Or a lineman from Georgia. That's his thing. And at this point, if they're not going to take a quarterback in the first round, I want that first round pick to be flipped for whatever he can get, because I don't want another N'Keal Harry situation where you draft a receiver in the first round and he ends up being a mental midget and a bust. Did you hear what Cam Newton said about him?
No.
The other day? No. Said that he was mentally battered by the Patriot way. Give me
N'Keal Harry was?
Fucking break. Yeah.
Wow.
Give me a break.
That's ridiculous.
It happens with these guys, man.
Yeah, some players don't like it. It's too strict. It's like being in high school again.
Listen, that's all well and good. Not everybody's cut out for it, but my God.
That's tough. Louis Davio, LD, what's up, man? Well, the Giants realize that DJ isn't the answer. Not this year. It looks like they're going all in on this year, and then they'll probably end up getting rid of him and Gettleman next year after they go 7-9. Luca agrees.
Luca.
He agrees too.
Hey, did you see that there's a Pixar movie coming out named
Luca?
It
was Luca in the summer, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spelled the right way.
Little Italian Pixar movie we got going on.
Definitely be going to see that.
But, yeah.
That kid's a stud, man, I must say. That kid, he's tall and lengthy. I don't know how Nick's the father.
It's the opposite of me.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. So.
Are we done already?
We're done.
This was fun.
Yeah, let me go. It's been an hour.
I have
it got dark on Frank. Go ahead. Frank's trying to meet the Kardashians tonight. Go ahead, man.
Frankie's got to go get lit. It's fine.
She's available now, Kim, your girl.
She's always available, I think.
True.
Right? They all are.
Well, you make some valid points. All right. So next week, if you missed it in the beginning of the show, I'm reminding you, we are going to have a special guest or two on the show next Thursday. One Hunter Henry and one Sean Culkin.
Yes,
new members of the uSTADIUM family. So
you just better welcome them the right way.
Yeah.
No OT with Nick and Frank tonight. Frank's in Miami, and we don't want to keep him for too long. But we might do a pop-up one over the weekend or during early part of next week. So stay tuned. We'll update you guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
and,
sir.
With that being said, we are out of here. So everybody enjoy your night, your weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
See you guys.